Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Lisa Richardson, and today we're coming to you from the Zion Cemetery and the Baynard Mausoleum here on Hilton Head Island. Our first guest today is Mr. Tom Martin with the Heritage Library, aka William Baynard. Our next guest is Richard Thomas, also with the Heritage Library. And our third guest is Mr. Brady Boyd with First Tee of the Lowcountry. So stick around and join us for another episode of 843 TV, where communities come to speak.
(843 TV), where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
(843 TV),
where communities come to speak.
Welcome to 843 TV. We are here at the absolutely beautiful site of Zion Cemetery, located right off Highway 278 here on Hilton Head Island. Our first two guests joining us are Tom Martin and Rich Thomas. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Lisa.
Well, it is a site here that dates back to the 1700s. Certainly rich history. Just tell us a little bit about the background.
Sure, Lisa. I mean, it has been dedicated to its purpose since the 1780s, right after the Revolutionary War. But, it was probably used by the ancient Native Americans that were here on the island, being at the head of Broad Creek, and as a lot of oysters in this particular area. So this was probably popular for them as well, but it was the center of town during the Revolutionary period. In this particular location, we had the Zion Chapel of Ease, which is approximately 100 yards toward Sea Pines from the mausoleum itself. There was a militia muster house, which was right on the corner of Matthews Drive and 278. And then a little bit further down toward Shelter Cove was a Masonic lodge, and that was after the Revolutionary War. But those three facilities were the only public meeting places on Hilton Head Island at the time, and there were probably about 25 families that lived in plantations in that particular period. But the original use of the land was for something called the Zion Chapel of Ease. And in 1767, St. Helena Parish, which really pretty much covered from the Combahee River down to the Savannah River, all of Beaufort County, was cut in two, basically, and St. Luke's Parish was created south of the Broad River. And St. Luke's Parish was the parishioners for Hilton Head Island, and they proposed prior to the Revolutionary War that a chapel be built on Hilton Head because it was very inconvenient to go to the only other church outside of Beaufort in Beaufort County, which was called St. Luke's Church out on Route 170 in Okatee near Sun City. So the planters from the island had to go all the way out there if they wanted to attend services. So the Chapel of Ease was proposed. It couldn't be built until after the Revolutionary War. Two planter families, Isaac Fripp and Captain Jack Stoney, funded the building of the chapel, which was a 30 by 40 foot wooden structure put on a brick foundation. And then services were held regularly in that chapel from that time until the Civil War. There were itinerant preachers. They would have to visit 4 different sites of worship in St. Luke's Parish, so it was one a week, and the parishioners could alternate between those sites if they wanted to attend. What really happened was many of them read from the Anglican book of worship so that they could do services on their own verandas at their plantation homes. And that's the way a lot of them did that in the off weeks when there weren't services here. But in the Civil War, it was not used for services because the planters had left when the Union invaded. And after the Civil War, basically the boards were taken, the bricks were taken by the Native Islander families to help improve their own homes. And so the vestiges of the chapel are gone. The mausoleum was built in 1846, prior to the Civil War. And it is the oldest standing structure still on Hilton Head Island.
Wow. And
is one of only 2 buildings that survived the Great Sea Island hurricane in 1893. It's a very significant historic site because this is only one of 2 places on the island that have visible vestiges that date back to the Revolutionary period. The other one is the Stony Baynard ruins in Sea Pines. And that has a close connection to Mr. Baynard's family, of course.
And speaking of Mr. Baynard, and that, first of all, that is just amazing, rich history of our area that I doubt many people even are aware of. So that's just really amazing. Thank you for sharing with us.
You're very welcome.
Now, next to you here, I know you're not going to the Heritage like that today, or maybe you are. It's a little overdressed for the beach. So, Tom, tell us about William Baynard and what history and the significance that William has.
Well, I'm portraying, as you can see, William Baynard, and I am not dressed although maybe it is plaid, but I own 3 plantations here on Hilton Head. Spanish Wells, which I inherited from my father, Muddy Creek, which I purchased from his estate, and Braddock's Point. And all 3 of them produced Sea Island cotton, which was a very long strand of cotton and you know, well in demand. So that's how I got to Hilton Head.
Wow, neat.
Great. Mr. Baynard, I have a question for you.
All right.
Rumor has it you won Braddock's Point Plantation a poker game with Saucy Jack Stoney. Can you tell us about that?
That's a real legend, and I think we're going to talk about some of those legends as later in the year as we do some more with the cemetery. But that's really a lie. John Stoney was, as Rich said, was a revolutionary privateer. A privateer is another word for pirate. And after the Revolutionary War, he lost his plantation to the Bank of Charleston, and I purchased it 1,000 acres for $10,000. So that's how I got it.
It's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
Tom, tell us why you decided to build the mausoleum.
Well, again, as Rich said, talking about history, this area was really the focal point of all the planters' families that were here. The church was a gathering place. Our family worshipped here. The Stoneys, the Fripps, all the other people. And when it came time to, I want to have something for the family, so that's why I built the mausoleum.
Great. Well, this is sure some amazing history. Stay right here to learn more, and we'll be back with more 843 TV.